This is Just Something About Her, a podcast from The Recount and iHeartRadio. This week's guest, Lizz Winstead. So tell me about, you started Lady Parts Justice League.
Yep.
So and I know that you have recently renamed it. I think that concern about, trans women and is part of the reason why. But tell me why you started Lady Parts Justice League to begin with, and the evolution that it's gone through, because I think that sort of reflects a broader evolution in the issue too.
Yeah, well, it's interesting because in my career, my comedy has always been responding to social issues. It became very political during the first Gulf War when I realized and was watching the media, and then I started sort of this journey on, I created The Daily Show and launched Air America Radio. But in the course of doing those two specific things, even in progressive spaces and liberal spaces, there was still, if you wanted to talk about some outrageous thing that was happening around abortion, you couldn't. The powers that be, my bosses were almost always men, and they were like, again, oh, you know what, that's just so
divisive.
Yeah, and I was like, it's also really important. Right. And so when all of this stuff started happening in 2012, I had just finished my book and I had just come off Air America, and I didn't know what I wanted to do next. And it was when all those laws started happening and they were dropped. And
Say more about those laws.
So I think everybody remembers Wendy Davis in Texas in those sneakers filibustering. What a lot of folks I don't think realize is that 26 other states dropped that same bucket of laws.
Yep.
But not everybody had a Wendy Davis. So clinics started closing profoundly and quickly. And I was like, this is unreal. And I was thinking to myself, what do I want to do next? So I hopped in a van. I was in Minnesota with my two dogs.
That's where you're from?
That's where I'm from. That's where I am
now. Are you there now?
I am.
Oh, it looks pretty.
Thank you. Yeah. And I drove across country doing benefits along the way. And I did 187 benefits in a year and a half for Planned Parenthood independent clinics and NARAL. I would visit the clinics. And the thing that I heard every time from the clinics were, they were surprised that I came. And they said, why are you here? Thank you for coming. No one ever comes. And it broke my heart. It really broke my heart. And when I went to Michigan, I met a state rep named Lisa Brown, they were trying to push this forced transvaginal ultrasound bill in Michigan, where it was, if you needed an abortion, the state wanted to mandate that you had an unnecessary transvaginal ultrasound. And it's akin to state sexual assault. So Lisa was on the floor of the State House.
And finally, Mr. Speaker, I'm flattered that you're all so interested in my vagina, but no means no.
And her speaker, Republican speaker, stood up and said, stop saying vagina, it's offensive. Use something that's more palatable, like lady parts. And Lisa said...
I did not know this was the origin of the story.
Lisa said, are you telling me you have the right to legislate a vagina and you can't say it? And if she would have had a vibrator in her hand, she would have dropped it as a mic drop and walked right out. But then she did, and I met Lisa, and it was such an inspiring story that... we called the organization Lady Parts Justice, and it was funny and it was good and it was a great origin story. But truth be told, for those who need care, who don't identify as women or ladies, and their reproductive organs are not in any way indicative of their gender, it just felt alienating. And I was like, I heard people. I was like, that's the last thing I want to do. So I'm happy to change the name.
Change it.
I want everybody
Is this like
to come. It's an evolution,
It's progress, right?
It's progress.
We can't stay in the same place and expect things to change, or reject people who are willing to change. Which I feel like sometimes also happens.
Yeah. So it's been really great. And so what we do is, for those that don't know about the organization, is we travel around the country. And it's sort of a cross between a USO show and Habitats for Humanity for the people who are providing care. So we do big shows in cities where we have comedy and music, and then we do conversations with the providers and the activists in those local communities, and they tell the stories of what they need. And then our audience hears about it, and they get to sign up right in the room to volunteer. And then they learn about the issues that are happening in their state, and then they can really do it. And then we go to the clinic, and we do work at the clinic. Because what a lot of folks don't know is if you provide care in Alabama, Oklahoma, Arkansas, you can't get a landscaper to come to your clinic because you provide abortion. You can't get someone to fix your roof. So we will go in and do those things.
This is so smart.
It's so fun. And then what we do is, which is really great, is we'll fix their immediate need. But then we tell the story of their needs to our audience. And every single time I got a landscaper who signs up. And I remember this guy saying, "Are you saying that if I get a client and get paid, that's activism?" And I was like, yes. By you parking your van in front of that clinic, you're saying, I support these people in the community, and politicians listen to that, and the community listens to that, and you've done an amazing thing, and you've made some money. You're welcome. I'm here to help everybody. So,
so you got entertainment, activism, and then it's like community building, because these are people, it's in their own community. They're like meeting each other, learning how to support the people that are running the clinics.
That's right. And so
it's
now
pretty ingenious.
It's so fun. And what we're doing this fall, which I'm really excited about, is we're launching a talk show on YouTube called Feminist Buzzkills Live, where it's going to be kind of a version of this weekly show where we will be talking to activists on the ground, and we'll be talking to providers, but we'll have comedy and music as well, and a call to action so that folks can really learn about the issue. So go to our YouTube. It's Abortion Access Front. And then subscribe, because you don't want to miss it, because we're going to have like all your favorite comics, because we've had so many of them on the road, and it's really changed them forever. Like when you hear like
to go and hear people's stories, turns
and
out
to
that
tell
matters,
their own. And turns out that the fear for so long was if you told your abortion story, that you would get blackballed or that you wouldn't get work. Right. And now that those of us are coming forward and telling, and no black balls, it encourages other people to do it. And so, it's going to be a raucous lot of language, and but truth telling. And like one of the things that I have done since Daily Show and Air America is like my dedication to the facts is even bigger than my dedication to the humor, because I want to be a reliable narrator, even if I am cracking jokes in between information.
Right, which you can do. Which you can be both things, right?
Yes!
That was,
You can be both things.
Thanks for watching. You can watch the full episode of Just Something About Her on The Recount, streaming daily, or listen to it wherever you get your podcasts.